Hello and good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Amir Ismail, and I'm an authorized citizenship and immigration advisor based in Toronto, Canada. This is our usual weekly immigration roundup where we're going to be sharing with you some of the immigration updates and try to answer some of your questions to the best of our abilities. Let me quickly acknowledge people who are joining us today. We have Usman Ali joining us from Facebook, and I can see a number of regular attendees, but I can also see some of the new faces as well. So if you're joining us for the first time, a very warm welcome for joining us as a regular attendee. Thank you very much for your support. Please ensure to share this broadcast with your friends. Okay, someone is saying there is no sound. A little bit about me and the company. I'm the CEO of Amir Ismail and Associates. We are based in Toronto. We are in the immigration consulting business for the last 31 years now. And we are authorized by the Government of Canada to represent your applications. I'm a member in good standing with the College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants and Canadian Association of Professional Immigration Consultants. Express entry updates. We know that express entry draws that are meant to select applicants from the express entry pool, skilled workers, provincial nominees, Canada Experience class, and Canada Trade class, they were on hold for a very long period of time. And after a very long time, two draws happened, but then these were back to back. The first draw was more than 500, but the last draw was 490. And the draws were big draws, more than 5,000 people invited in each of these draws back to back. And the last draw, especially, is of interest to a lot of people because the score slided down by 17 ranking points, which means that going forward, if I could show you the current composition of the express entry pool at the moment, and rounds of invitation. So you can see that at the moment, we have around 65,296 applicants in the scoring range of 451 to 500. And if you look at the number here, 500 to 600, we have around 2,000 applicants left in the pool, which means that going forward, these 65,000 applicants in the pool would come into picture very soon. And obviously, we are looking at a breakdown here, 491 to 500 ranking points, 3,384. So until next draw, which might happen the next week or maybe a week after, during that time, some more people will create their profiles, but obviously there will be very few people who will be having 491 to 500. So this figure of 3,384 will not increase significantly by the time the next draw happens. But if you look at the score for 481 to 490 here, you would see that there are 11,848 applicants in the waiting for selection. So my assumption is that a portion of these 481 to 490 will be invited in the next draw. So if you have 480 or more, you can expect a selection very soon. But going forward, we can see that the cohort of 471 to 480 is 20,000 applicants. And we know that Canada is targeting around 82,000 to 88,000 federal skilled worker applicants, and then there are more than 105,000 applicants who will be selected under the PNP programs. So we can expect that going forward, the frequency of the draws will increase, and the number of people that are going to be invited, the size of the draws is also going to be bigger. So going back to our updates, this is the talk of the town, category-based selection. This is something big that is coming in Canadian immigration. We know that the selection from the express entry pool by the federal government is based on your ranking score. This has been the practice for the last 7-8 years since the time express entry system started, that the higher your ranking score is, the better are your chances, regardless of your occupation. But going forward, there's a proposal that federal government will be able to select people from the express entry pool based on categories. And these categories are being worked out at the moment. The Minister of Immigration is consulting with the stakeholders, general public, and they had a opinion poll and they sought feedback from everyone, general public included, and they are designing the system in such a way that it can address the labor shortages in the Canadian labor market created due to the recent times. So the proposal is that they will be creating categories based on the status of the applicants here, like students and work permit holders might be prioritized. But the most interesting category that is being discussed is the occupation-based category, where the federal government would be able to select people from the express entry pool based on the occupations. So if your occupation is demand in Canada, and they have already indicated that these occupations could be related to health sector, it could be accommodation, retail, IT, for example. So we don't really know at the moment what the category would look like, but it can be a ray of hope for a lot of people who are very qualified, who can bring a lot of talent to Canada. They have good language skills, but they are losing points one way or the other. Age could be one of the reason, because you know that you start losing points from age 30 when it comes to ranking score. So going forward, if you are losing points in age factor or language factor, you have good language score, but in one of the components of IELTS you scored 6 bands, but the rest are like 7, 8, but you're still losing points overall. So going forward, as I said, if category-based criteria is introduced and if you have experience in one of the occupation that is demand in Canada, you can expect an invitation to apply for permanent residence by the federal government, and that may pave way for your permanent residence. So it is very important for you to create your express entry profile and remain there, make yourself available as a potential candidate so that whenever they start the category based selection, you are there. It is speculated that this is going to be implemented from spring of this year, and the decision is based on Bill C-19 that was passed in the parliament last year. So they're going to be implementing it very soon. So be there in the pool for a selection. The other category that they are suggesting is language. So you know that Canada is a bilingual country and they want to accommodate French speakers. So if you are from a country where French is also or is the official language and you have fluency in French, so you might have better chances in the future draws. They already have added additional points for French language. So even if you are not from a French speaking country, you might consider improving your French skills, which would in fact help you practically as well here in Canada. You have better chances of being employed if you are fluent in both the languages, right? Okay, so let's move forward to the next backlog. That is very important. Backlog, backlog, and backlog. People are talking about it. It has been excruciating for a lot of people who have been waiting in the pool for a decision in various categories: visitors, sponsorship applications, even permanent residence for skilled workers, where people were invited to apply and they submitted their PR application, they still don't have a decision. So Canadian government obviously is trying its best. They have increased the resources, they have hired more people, but still a very long way to go. And I think they are still not able to cope up with the backlog. But some progress has been made, and I'll show you here. Okay, let's see if I can share with you the screen. So there was an announcement, a recent announcement. I think we referred that in our last broadcast as well. So Canada marks record-breaking year for processing applications. So they have made some progress, and the backlog has been reduced by nearly 500,000 applications in 4 months, right? So record-breaking processing has taken place, and we can hope that good times are ahead in terms of processing as well. And in the meantime, when things were slow, Canada accumulated a lot of backlog in the temporary residence category visitor visa applications, where a lot of people who've been waiting for over a year now for their visitor visa application to be processed. There is a news that Canada will be going toward the clearance of visitor visa application backlogs by February 2023, and they are aiming to clear the visitor visa application backlogs very soon. And the strategy that they have proposed is to process around 195,000 applications, the first approach, and relax the eligibility criteria for 450,000 applicants. And there is a speculation that there might be decisions coming in very soon, and they might be positive for a lot of people. So hang in there if you have been waiting for a while for your visitor visa application. The backlogs are being cleared. So let's talk about the future of express entry pool composition. People are asking if IRC will continue to hold the usual draws. So nothing's going to change actually. And they are going to hold the usual draws as well as the category-based draws. So it's not that they are moving entirely toward the category-based draws. And if your occupation is not in demand, you might get disappointed. It's not the case. The usual draws will happen. And on top of that, as we discussed, that provinces have a very huge quota of 105,000 applicants this year. Obviously, that 105,000 has been distributed among 10 provinces and 3 territories. Like Alberta had an allocation of around 6,000 to 7,000 applicants, and they utilized that quota. Going forward, provinces will continue to select applicants, and provinces always select people based on various factors, but their main focus is always the occupation. So it's not that category-based selection criteria, once implemented, is going to affect anything. It's going to affect only those people who have experience in demand occupations. So obviously, it's going to be helpful for them to get selected, but otherwise, everything remains the same. Speaking of Alberta, they made a change which is actually very encouraging for people who have relatives based in Alberta. And they have indicated that they are going to allocate more points or more weightage of a close relative in Canada. So if you have a close relative residing in Canada, you may have better chances of nomination by Alberta. For Alberta, you can't submit application directly to the province. The province selects you from the express entry pool. So creation of express entry profile is the first step for selection by Alberta, and Alberta selects people on their own. You don't have to approach them. But if you have relatives residing in Alberta, then this change that they have brought about in recognition of support that you already have available in Alberta is a good thing. Okay, so I think I have one more slide here. PNP will remain the king. As I said, provincial nominations will play a key role in identifying suitable immigrants which are in demand in various regions in Canada. So keep an eye on all the PNP changes. They all have their own websites. You can get the updates there and be on top of that if you want to maximize your chances of selection by the PNPs. And if you wish to get in touch with us, our strategy is always to encourage people to refer to the official website of the Canadian government, which is cic.gc.ca. If you are interested in migrating to Canada, it is very important for you that you familiarize yourself with the selection criteria, rules, and regulations. So we always ask people to check their assessment on the official website instead of browsing through the internet and getting conflicting information that may confuse you even further. So the first step should be to refer to the official Canadian government website. If you find yourself qualifying in a category or two, and if you need assistance, you're very welcome to complete our free assessment form as well, which is available on our website, www.amirismail.com. And once we make an assessment, we'll get back to you with our opinion, and we might ask you to go for a consultation if the case is doable. If not, we're going to tell you straight away that there is no point wasting your time or money. Okay. So let's see if we could take up some questions. Waqar Ahmad is asking, he has a 4 years bachelor's degree, 3 years experience in IT field. His age is 25. Is he eligible for immigration? So Waqar, the first step should be that you check your eligibility on the Canadian government website. There are two things that you need to check there. One is the sixth selection factor, which allows you to determine whether you have at least 67 points to allow you to enter the express entry pool. That is one. And then you also need to check your ranking score, the comprehensive ranking system, CRS. So you need to check your score as well and see how much you are scoring. If you need any assistance with assessment after you have checked your eligibility yourself and you're convinced that you do meet the criteria, you are always welcome to get in touch with us. Okay. Let's see if I can take another question. Kasim has joined us from YouTube, and his qualification, he's a graduate in English literature and he wants to move to Canada for study purposes. What would I suggest him? And if that is possible without IELTS. First of all, the first step, as you may know, that it is to secure admission at a Canadian institute, and the admission criteria varies from institute to institute. It depends what do you wish to study based on your previous studies and based on your future plans. You need to get admission in one of the Canadian institutes, and they set the criteria for language. When you apply for student visa, there also, if you're applying under the student direct stream, there is a requirement of scoring at least 6 bands in academic IELTS. So IELTS is one of the requirements when it comes to securing admission. And there are other factors as well. When you plan to apply for student visa, obviously you need to have sufficient funds. You need to be able to clarify as to why do you wish to study, how will this qualification help you in your future goals, and do you have means and intentions to go back to your home country after you complete your studies. Okay. Let's see if I can answer a few more questions. Ahmed Rahman has a similar question, but he is interested in applying for PNP. He's got an overall 6.5 bands, has technical background, and what should I suggest? And has a master's degree as well. Go ahead and apply. You have a good profile. It's just that your ranking score will be lower because you are losing points in the language factor. But regardless, you should be in the pool so that you get the attention of a provincial nomination, right? So go ahead and do that. Okay. There are a lot of questions coming in, so I'm just trying to figure out which ones are on top, because I just lost the trail. Zal is saying that he has 14 years of experience from Saudi Arabia in computer networking, and his age is 44. What is the best solution? And he's still working in Saudi Arabia. So, Zal, you might already know that you are losing significant points in the age factor, and that have actually reduced your chances of being selected under the Federal Skilled Worker Program or even the PNP programs. There are other categories that you might want to look into. If you have accumulated some net worth, you might want to look into the possibility of starting your own business in Canada. We have very good startup visa program, especially for computer professionals. And there are a lot of people that we've dealt with who have worked in Middle East, and they have accumulated some funds, and they have some management experience as well, and they move to Canada. There are different programs. So look into the possibility of startup visa, and you might qualify in that. It will require you to establish your business here and present an innovative idea, and that is accepted by one of the supporting organizations here, like an incubator. Then you will stand a chance of coming to Canada under the as a permanent resident. Okay. Azim Ali is saying, what are the chances for nursing profession in category-based draws? So very good chances, I would say, because nurses are in demand, and they have already indicated that nurses would be perhaps part of. And that is my speculation that nurses will be there. And I think nurses will continue to be selected by various provinces like Alberta, Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and they are in demand everywhere in Canada. And going forward, category-based draws will also be helpful. Okay. Javed is saying, do you have a representative office in Lahore? No, we don't maintain offices to counsel clients on legal immigration matters because we are unable to authorize the local staff, non-Canadian staff or agents to deal with people. I understand in Lahore, Islamabad, Karachi, New Delhi, Mumbai, everywhere in the world, there are immigration companies and there are people who sit across the table and deal with you. But imagine you're dealing with people who are not authorized by the government of Canada. In fact, in some cases, they have never been to Canada themselves, but they have nice, fancy offices. They're dealing with people on immigration matters. So just imagine if you are to go to a doctor's office and you know that the person who's dealing with you is not a doctor, but you're still expecting that they're going to give you a solution to for your health. You're not definitely going to be dealing with them. So my advice would be to never deal with local offices of local people. Always deal with people who are authorized by the government of Canada and get authentic and reliable advice, right? Okay, so there are a few more questions. Okay. So there's a question from Nobes, and he's saying that he's a PR living in Canada, and spouse is a UAE resident. Spouse is a misdemeanor case on record from 2022, shoplifting. Can I sponsor him, and what is the chance of application being rejected? So you need to look at the criminal inadmissibility, and there are two factors involved: serious criminality and just the criminality. There are different sections dealing with it. So we need to look at the Canadian equivalence of the offense that was committed overseas. And we need to look at what would have been the repercussion for that kind of an offense had it taken place in Canada. And based on that, we can determine whether it will have an implication on the prospects of PR application. So you can get in touch with our office with the details. You can email the information. We might have to involve a criminal lawyer to get an opinion, and then we can advise you. It will obviously cost you the consultation fees and everything, but we need to look at the documentation first so that we could let you know whether you will be in a position we will be in a position to assist you or not. There's a question from Mohsin Raza Mughal. Very good morning to you too, Mohsin. Okay. He says his wife is interested to study in Canada for early childhood education, but she has almost 7 years of gap due to medical conditions experience, 2009 to 2013, education 2014. Is there any possibility to receive study permit visa? So yes, she can apply. There is no such thing that precludes her from applying, that if someone has a gap, they cannot be considered. But obviously, there is some explanation that needs to be done as to why the applicant has now considered applying for studies in Canada. And if that can be justified, then obviously there are chances. Muzaffar, but he's saying that he's a doctor. Thank you very much for joining us, doctor. So, is there any skilled immigration or visa without offering job employment? Yeah, most of the immigration programs are without job or job offers. There are thousands of people who come to Canada who don't have a job offer, but they still migrate. Sadia, thank you very much for joining us. Farah, you have a question, please feel free to put that in the comments. Imran Khan is saying that he has done masters in human nutrition and have experience in different organizations, and his age is 38. So you're losing points in age factor, but as I said, it is advisable to make yourself available for selection, and you may not stand good chances under the federal program, but provincial programs could be one of your options, and going forward, category-based selection might help as well. Okay, so let's see. We need to move forward. Mohammad Salman Akbar is asking, are there any investment visa category, the one which gives PR at landing? You should explore the startup visa category, And that is one option which allows both the options. One is to come to Canada on a work permit, and the second is to wait out and land in Canada as a permanent resident directly. So you can look into the starter visa, and we can talk about it if you need any option. Farid Shahid, thank you for joining. He's asking, how do you see PNP landscape in PEI? Do they require a connection to the province in order to be eligible for invite? Any feedback on the latest draw? So Farid, the selection criteria is very well explained on their website, but you'll see that it's not that connection to the province is one of the criterias only. People get invitation even if they don't have a connection. But yes, having a job offer from an employer based in it does help, and that is why I always encourage people to approach employers. It may not happen, but trying is always helpful. So do that. And PNP program for PI is a good program, but obviously the quota is very limited. And because with any PNP program, it's an invitation-based system. So making yourself available in the pool and creating the profile doesn't really guarantee your immigration. It's just that you are there for selection, and if they you have their attention, then you may get an invitation, and you then proceed further from that point onward. Sadia is asking, she is into administration profession and 12 years of education and simple 2 years graduation, having 13 years of experience. Sadia, the minimum educational qualification for a competitive score is always 3 to 4 years bachelor's degree. So if you have a 2 years bachelor's degree, I think your score would be too low for consideration. So I think it may not be a very strong case, okay? Ahmed Ali Sheikh is saying he's a British citizen and can he apply for Canadian immigration? He's got 16 years education in IT, have around 10 years of experience. Do I need to do IELTS or not? Or what are the options I have? Being a British citizen, you still have to do IELTS. It doesn't matter what nationality you have. IELTS is a mandatory requirement, so you have to do that. And you can check your prospects on the official website, or you can complete our assessment form, and we can let you know where do you stand in terms of points and what are your prospects. Farah is also a master's degree holder in international relations, 16 years completed and 5 years experience. So the same answer to you as well, Farah. We need to make an assessment, and you can do that on your own as well. There are calculators available on the Canadian government website. Make an assessment and look for the 6 selection criteria first, and then look for the ranking score, and then you can see. Chaudhry Shakil Ahmed saying, can he go to Canada at the age of 48? You're losing a lot of points for skilled worker, but you can explore the business categories. If you have business ownership experience or senior management experience, you have the capital to invest in Canada, then it might be useful for you to check. Okay. Marana, you'll be saying how to check occupation that are high in demand. So you can do a little bit of research. Google is your friend, and look for the outlook of various professions in Canada, and it will give you a good enough idea which professions are in demand in Canada. But from the immigration point of view, Canadian government is going to identify category-based selection very soon, so you'll know what they are looking for. Saying he's a medical technologist, can the visit visa be converted to work visa? So visit visa cannot be converted to work visa. You have to apply for a work visa, and for you to apply for a work visa, you have to have a job offer from an employer. So first of all, look at the prospects of you getting a job offer, then think about anything else, okay? Ali, thank you for the appreciation. Regal International saying that he or she applied for visit visa in 2019, but it was rejected. So you can always retry if you're still interested. And this time around, you need to justify and address the concerns raised by the visa officer in the previous application and see if you can overcome them. And if there are things that have changed in your profile that is going to be helpful, then you can always reapply. Shahid Khan is a fresh doctor from Afghanistan. He wants to move to Canada for study further specialization. So you would know, Shahid, that Canada doesn't offer, Canadian universities don't medical studies as such. If you are trying to get admission in one of the related fields like public health, for example, you may be able to get admission at a master's level, but I don't think that you'll be able to do specialization here in Canada. But you can find out from the medical association here in Canada, they'll be able to guide you better. Omer is saying that he has a CRS score of 453 and he's got a master's degree and he's 35 years of age. So go for the express entry, obviously. In express entry, you will be available for selection under the federal skilled worker program. The pass rank is indeed very high at the moment, but you never know how the way it is sliding down. 453 is used to be considered a very good score, but going forward, I believe the score is going to be adjusted very swiftly. And then by being in the pool, you also stand good chances of being selected by the provinces as well. Let me see if I can answer a few more before we bid goodbye to you. We may not be able to address all the questions, but feel free to send it out to us. You can email them to us as well. As a follow-up question, he's saying he's 44 years of age and future for the kids. Okay, yeah. So the thing is, people who have crossed 40, they are losing points now. And if they introduce the category-based selection criteria, then you may be able to get attention of federal government. But at the moment, as I see it, 44 years of age, you're losing a lot of points. So the prospects are not that bright under the skilled worker category. But we can look into the business categories, something that you want to do in the medical field and set up something here. And if you have an innovative idea to set up, so startup visa could be one of the options that you might want to look into. Okay. Hamid is saying that he's in Dubai and he's done MBA and have 6 years experience, and wife has done MPhil in botany and 8 year experience as lecturer in government college in Pakistan. Wife scored 6.5, is 35 and 36, and are they eligible? So it's always a good idea to improve your IELTS because that is something that causes loss of a lot of points. So 6.5 is not a bad score, but there is a room for improvement. In the meantime, you should create your profile and be available in the pool. And if you get a better IELTS score, you can always update in the profile, okay? Okay, Shazia is saying, can she apply for immigration without IELTS? And she's a computer engineer and have 19 years of teaching experience. So Shazia, IELTS is a mandatory requirement. There are virtually no programs that would entertain you without IELTS. So it is important that you prepare and try to get the best of the best score. Okay, let's see. I think we have addressed all the questions today, but we obviously will not be able to address some of them. So please feel free to send them to us by email, info@amirismail.com. We'll be able to address them. And as I said earlier as well, always check the Canadian government website, the official website, the cic.gc.ca, when it comes to confirming anything, cross-referencing anything, instead of asking around on internet, on forums, on social media, and be wary of the ads that are being placed on Facebook and other social media channels, luring you, advising you that Canada has opened its floodgates and it's very easy, no IELTS required, no job offer, nothing. These are the things. And yeah, job offer is indeed not required for most of the program, but some of them do offer jobs, and you have to be very careful when it comes to taking up their services because it is illegal to pay for the job or charge for the jobs. There are a lot of people who get deported from Canada because Canadian government figures out that you paid for your own job just to get some additional points. So it's not end of the world if you're not qualifying. You should accept this fact or improve your chances, but don't fall prey to offers like job offers and end up paying thousands of dollars and then still get deported from Canada based on this, okay? So thank you very much for joining us today, everyone. And please feel free to get in touch with us if you have additional questions. And if you want any assistance in your assessment, please fill out our assessment form. We'll be happy to make an assessment of your eligibility and get back to you, okay? Until next time, this is Amir Ismail saying goodbye to you from Toronto.